Hey folks, Tim here from Rockout Videography again. Today we're going to be reviewing the Keeley Bassist compressor pedal. We're going to talk about why you may want a compressor pedal, look at the quality of this one, and demo it so you can hear what it does and decide if it's a good choice for you. First of all, what does a compressor do and why do so many people, myself included, like what they do to their bass sound? Well, compression as an effect goes back to the days of the telephone in the late 1800s as a way to even out the volume of people talking on the phone. The first compressor pedals for guitar appeared in the early 1970s. Since then, there have been a lot of compressor pedals created specifically for bass. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of compressors. There are plenty of videos out there that give a detailed description of how a compressor functions. For us, it's doing two noticeable things. It's limiting our peak volume and evening out the dynamics in our playing. It's also giving our bass tone a more punchy or percussive sound. How you set the controls will determine how much of those two things you get. Now, before we go any further, do me a favor. If you like videos about audio, video, and music production, subscribe to the channel to help support what we do here and help us get our videos out to more people. Let's look at the company specs and features of this pedal. Robert Keeley has been making high-quality effect pedals for around 25 years and is well known for building quality stuff. The company has grown over the years and makes everything in Oklahoma, USA. They're another example of a boutique pedal maker who's grown to the point of being a big influence in the industry. You can get more info about Robert and the company on their website. I suggest you check it out. This pedal has a metal case with a positive click foot switch and plastic knobs. There's a compression knob which sets the ratio of compression, a threshold knob which controls the volume level where compression begins to take effect, and a gain switch to make up for any volume loss. On the right side there's a 1/4 inch instrument input jack, and on the left side you have the 1/4 instrument output. On the top you have the 9-volt DC input which uses standard negative pedal power supplies. On the back there's plenty of real estate for Velcro so you can mount it on your board. Inside, you'll find the circuit board. I would have had to remove the knobs and the foot switch to look at the rest of the inside. I love you guys, but I don't love you that much. There are also terminals for a 9-volt battery. Although the manual doesn't mention it, I tested it with a battery and it works. Alright, let me demo this pedal and show you what it sounds like and what it does. I'm playing a Squier Vintage Modified 70s Jazz with flat wound strings, just what I'm into this week. And I'm going from that through a tuner into the Keeley Bassist. From there I'm going out through a drum loop pedal that we'll play with in a minute into a direct box. From the DI box I'm going out to a Fender Rumble 30 so I can monitor myself without headphones, and it's also going out XLR to my Zoom L8 recorder. I may decide to cut the camera mic audio when I'm playing, maybe not. If I do that, you're going to hear some room tone stuff. There's probably like a little bubble or something up here telling you whether I decided to do that or not. Alright, here we go. So, you can see it's got power. The green light is on. If I play, right, there you go, that's no compression. When I click it on, you get the blue light. That tells you that the compressor pedal's on. And when you see the red light, that's telling you that it's hitting compression. So the first knob is the compression knob, which is a ratio knob. So if you go all the way to 1:1, that means there's no compression happening at all. Even though the light's coming on, it's not really doing anything. You could go like 2:1 is like a good place to start fooling around with it. Well, I like to have it set at about a 4:1 ratio, which is right there about at noon. Right? And if you were to take this thing all the way over, it basically becomes a hard limiter now. At this point, it's just a cutoff. There's nothing coming through once it hits. And that's probably too extreme for most bass playing situations that you would be in. But it's there. So let's set that back to 4:1 and let's look at the threshold. The threshold knob determines at what point in the volume it's going to start compressing and start doing that ratio. So right there, I like that. But as you go down, it's going to start hitting sooner. You hear the volume drop? We'll get to the gain knob in a minute. So right about there is good. And you can hear the dynamics evening out, and it's got a little bit of a more punchier tone. It's kind of like a side effect that you get with compressors, especially with bass. So again, you can go to where it's just barely right there. You can see green light all the way. The threshold is too high for the compressor to kick in. So that's a setting that I like. You'll have to fool around with it yourself to figure out with your bass and what kind of tone you're looking for, what sounds good to you. Now the gain knob, again, let's use as an example. When we set the threshold down, we're getting a volume drop. So you could use the gain knob to bring that back up. One of the useful parts of having a gain knob, and that's just sort of set at 0 right there, again, straight up, is that if you're using any kind of effect pedal and you're only using it some of the time, you don't want your volume to drop when you engage that pedal. So with all of your pedals, you set your gain so that no matter what's on or off, your volume is consistent. Conversely, you could use that as a volume boost, but with a compressor, most of the time for bass, you're just going to have it on all the time. All right, that sounds pretty good. Let me show you what it sounds like in a mix. I've got a drum loop pedal. I'm going to turn that on, and we'll do a little jam here, and you can hear what it sounds like with some drums. All right, well, there you go. That's what the pedal sounds like. That's what it does. Yeah, it's cool. Here are my overall thoughts on this pedal. It's well made and should last a lifetime if you take care of it. Although it doesn't allow you to manually control the attack and release, it does a great job the way it's set, which makes it simple to use. You do have enough control over what really matters to dial in a great sound. There are not a lot of cons. This pedal does go for $200, which right now could be a lot for some people's budgets. However, it's comparable in price, even cheaper than some of its competitors, and I think it's well worth what I paid for it. Okay, folks, it's time for
the featured YouTube Artist of the Week! Yay!
This week's featured artist is Todd Michael Jameson. Full disclosure, Todd is a friend of mine. I've done some video work for him in the past, and he frequently opens for or sits in with my band, the Burnlackers, when he's in town. Todd is a talented singer-songwriter who often performs as a solo acoustic act, but also performs with other bands, often as a bass player. His original music is available on all the usual streaming platforms and includes full band instrumentation. Go to his YouTube channel, watch his videos, like them, and leave him some comments. Let's get the word out and help him gain more fans. Leave us a comment and let us know if you're using a compressor pedal, and if so, which one. If you have a Keeley Bassist, what do you think about it? As always, we appreciate everyone who takes the time to subscribe and like our videos. It really helps the channel grow. Until the next video, have a great day.